Mornings in Cedar Grove have always been quiet, especially on Maple Lane, where I've spent more than 5 decades of my life. Now, at 78, I find comfort in the stillness, the soft glow of sunlight through my lace curtains, the birds perching in formation on the porch rail, right on schedule. My body isn't what it used to be, my knees are stiff, my back grumbles, but I manage. This old house, worn but sturdy, holds the story of my life, especially the chapters with Frank. He built the bookshelf in the corner with his own hands and always said he'd fix the squeaky step out front. He never did. His heart gave out on a rainy Tuesday, 8 years ago. I still talk to him when I water the plants. It's silly, maybe, but it makes me feel less alone. We raised our children here, Mason and Clara. I can still hear their voices in the hallway, laughter, arguments, the thud of running feet. These days, Clara drops in once a month, always rushed, always with errands. Mason visits more often, but usually for a reason, a check, a favor, a signature. He means well, I think, but the promises to repay? Empty. Only Liam, my grandson, comes just to see me. He's in college now, tall and sweet-natured, always with stories and an appetite for my blueberry pie. I bake one every Wednesday. I can't eat much sugar anymore. It's not for me, it's for him. He makes me feel like I still matter. That Wednesday, I heard the front gate creak and recognized the rhythm of his steps on the porch. He walked with that same gentle awkwardness Frank once had. I smiled, already reaching for the kettle. "Hi, Grandma," he called as he stepped inside, the scent of warm pie already filling the room. "It's fresh from the oven," I said, sliding a plate his way. He grinned. "You didn't have to go to the trouble." "I wanted to," I said, pouring tea. "Now, tell me everything. How's school?" He told me about a math project, a professor who finally learned his name, and a girl named Brooke who loved old poetry. He was halfway through his second slice when he asked, "So, what are you wearing on Friday?" I paused. "Friday?" He looked confused. "You know, Mom and Dad's anniversary dinner, 35 years. They rented a private room at Riverbend." I tried to keep my voice light. "Your father never mentioned it." He frowned. "Really? He told me he'd pick you up." I shook my head. "No one told me a thing." Liam's smile faded. "Maybe he forgot to call. You know how he is." "Maybe," I said, but I felt something shift inside me, something cold and sharp. That afternoon, the phone rang. "Mason." I picked up, trying to sound cheerful. "Hey, Mom," he said, too chipper. "Just wanted to let you know, Friday's dinner's off. Cora's sick. Doctor says she needs rest." "Oh no, that's awful. Do you need anything? I can bring over some soup or—" "No, no," he cut in quickly. "We've got it covered. Just wanted to give you a heads up." He hung up before I could answer. The dial tone hummed in my ear as the questions stacked up. If dinner was cancelled, why didn't he tell me sooner? And why did Liam think it was still happening? I called Clara to clear my head. "Cora's not feeling well?" I asked. "Sick?" Clara sounded distracted. "I haven't talked to her. But you'll be there Friday?" A long pause. "Oh, right. Yeah, I'll be there." She ended the call too fast. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my armchair, photo album open in my lap, Mason with his toothless grin, Clara on her first bike, Frank behind her with outstretched arms, Christmas dinners, summers at the lake, so many years, all tucked into the corners of these pages. When did I stop being part of the picture? The next morning, I wandered into town, not for groceries, just to think. I ran into Martha Jean, a longtime friend, retired teacher, part-time florist. "Big night tomorrow, huh?" she said. "Clara told me she's taking the evening off. 35 years, that's something." I blinked. "Oh, I thought they cancelled it." She looked puzzled. "No, reservation's been set for weeks. Riverbend, private room." I walked home slowly, heart heavy, mind clear. So it wasn't a mix-up. It was deliberate. They didn't just forget me, they erased me. No tears came, no anger, just a quiet determination. I opened the closet and pulled out the navy blue dress I hadn't worn since Frank's funeral. It still fit, just a little looser now. I laid it on the bed, looked in the mirror. "If they didn't want me there," I whispered, "then I need to see why." The next evening, clouds loomed low over Cedar Grove. I stood by the window, untouched tea cooling in my hand, dressed, composed, lipstick on, ready. At 5 o'clock, I called a cab. The driver was young, music in his ears, arms covered in ink. "Riverbend," I told him. He glanced at me. "Swanky place." Special occasion? I looked out the window, voice calm. Yes, I said. Family reunion. He didn't ask questions, just nodded as I told him to stop short of the entrance. Wait for me, I said, just in case. Riverbend sat quietly by the water, brick walls wrapped in ivy, golden lights glowing behind the windows like a memory. I didn't head through the front, I walked around the side, toward the parking lot. That's when I saw them. Mason's silver sedan, Clara's beige one, Liam's dusty old Honda, all here, no doubt, no mistake. I kept walking until I found a window, partly covered with sheer curtains. Through the gap, I saw them. A round table in the center of the room, champagne glasses raised, Cora radiant in a red dress, perfectly well, Mason toasting, Clara laughing, Liam with his girlfriend, a few unfamiliar faces, friends, probably. They were all there, every one of them. Except me. A knot tightened in my chest, but I didn't cry. I straightened my shoulders and walked back to the front entrance. A man in a navy vest stood by the door, gold name tag, polished smile. Good evening, ma'am, do you have a reservation? No, I said, looking him straight in the eye, but the Hayes family is celebrating tonight. I'm Ella Laner Hayes, Mason's mother. He paused, eyes softening. Of course, please, come in. The lobby was warm and fragrant with rosemary and roasted lamb. Just as I stepped inside, a voice called out. Ella Laner? I turned. Louis Hartman, owner of Riverbend, and once, the quiet boy from across the street who borrowed books and always asked for seconds on pie. He looked older now, silver in his beard, but the same kindness in his eyes. You haven't changed, he said, smiling. Oh, but I have, I replied, and so has my family. He raised an eyebrow, reading between the lines. They didn't invite you? They lied to keep me away. He nodded, slow and deliberate, then he held out his arm. Well, let's not keep them waiting. I took it. The banquet doors opened, and the room quieted, not instantly, but in waves. Laughter faded, forks froze, heads turned. We walked together toward the round table. Mason, mid-toast, froze, his face drained of color. Cora's smile fell, Clara's wineglass trembled. Liam stood, eyes wide. Grandma? He said, as if seeing a ghost. I gave him a small smile, then turned to the others. Mason pushed back his chair, stumbling into words. Mom, you're here. I thought you weren't feeling well. No, I said, voice steady. You told me dinner was cancelled. You said Cora was sick, but clearly, she's doing just fine. Cora opened her mouth, fumbling. I felt better this morning. I raised my eyebrows. That's quite the recovery, almost miraculous. Silence wrapped the table. Louis, ever the gentleman, pulled out a chair for me between Liam and someone I didn't recognize. I sat, calm, composed. I didn't come to ruin anything, I said. I just needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed to know whether I'd been forgotten or deliberately excluded. I looked around the table. It wasn't a mistake, I said. It was a choice. Clara opened her mouth, but I lifted a hand. I'm speaking now. From my purse, I pulled out a white envelope and set it on the table. I brought a few things, just in case. Mason's eyes narrowed. Clara leaned forward. The first, I said, sliding out the paper, is confirmation of the house sale, the one you both wanted me to sign over. It's no longer ours. A young couple bought it, with children. They'll fill it with new life. Clara gasped. Mason's jaw dropped. The second is a donation slip. Proceeds from the sale, nearly $500,000, have gone to the Cedar Grove Public Library. They're building a new children's wing. It'll be named after Frank. Someone dropped a fork. Liam's eyes were wide. Grandma. I'm not done. I laid out the final document. My updated will, what little remains, the rest of my savings, the things that mattered, go to Liam, the only person at this table who came to visit me without asking for anything. Cora looked down. Mason's face flushed. Clara looked like she might cry. I looked at each of them, not with spite, just clarity. You wanted a night without me, I said. Well, you got it. And now you have the truth, too. What you do with it, that's your decision. For a long moment, no one moved, no one spoke. Even the clinking of silverware had stopped. Finally, Liam stood. I didn't know, he said. I really thought they invited you. I know, I said softly, placing my hand over his. This isn't about you. Mason cleared his throat. Mom, maybe we should talk, privately, we can explain. No, I said, I've heard enough, I've seen enough, I don't need more words, I need respect. Clara's voice cracked. We didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said, and I let it happen, over and over, thinking maybe things would change. I stood, smoothing the front of my dress. I felt tall again, not in stature, but in spirit. You taught me something, that love can vanish when it's inconvenient. But I've learned something too. That love without dignity isn't love at all, it's dependency. And I'm done depending. Liam stood again, as if to walk me out. I touched his arm gently. Stay, you belong here. Then I turned to Lewis, who had watched the entire scene with quiet grace. Would you mind calling that cab again? I asked. It's already outside, he said, offering his arm. As I walked away from that table, silence trailed behind me, heavier than any goodbye. And far more honest. For the first time in decades, I wasn't chasing approval. I wasn't waiting to be invited. I had chosen myself, and in doing so, I found freedom. It's been 3 months since that night at Riverbend. Outside my new apartment, spring glows gold across the town square. From my third-floor window, I watch children dart across the lawn, couples stroll past the old fountain, and just across the street stands the Cedar Grove Public Library, now with a new wing bearing Frank's name. My life is simpler now, smaller, yes, but lighter. I volunteer at the library 3 mornings a week, mostly in the children's section. I read to toddlers, help older kids find their first real books, and listen when teenagers need someone who won't interrupt. No one there cares what I used to own or what I gave away. They see me, as I am. Mason calls now, at first, every day, then, less. He speaks softer these days. Clara came by once, with a bouquet from her shop. She sat quietly, sipping tea, looking around my little apartment like she was trying to understand how I had built something without them in it. I don't shut them out, but I don't let them all the way in. Not anymore. Trust is earned now, not assumed. The money is gone, the contract's finalized, the library donation complete. There's nothing left to pursue, except me. If they want that. Lewis and I have grown into something like companionship. He brings chai in the afternoons, tells stories from the restaurant. We've gone to the community theater a few times, dinner with his sister once. He asks nothing of me but my company. And for the first time in years, I let someone in, someone new. As I sit by the window, a breeze brings the scent of jasmine through the screen. It smells like a beginning. Because not every ending is bitter. Some simply close a chapter, so the next one can begin. And this is mine. Today is special. At 3 o'clock, Liam knocks on my door, tie slightly crooked, holding a bouquet of lilies. You ready for your big moment, Grandma? He grins. I laugh, smoothing my navy blue dress, the same one I wore that night. It's just a ribbon and a plaque. He shakes his head. No, it's more than that. It's your legacy. By the time we reach the library, the crowd has gathered. The mayor is shaking hands. Volunteers are setting up chairs and handing out lemonade. I recognize neighbors, librarians, children I read to, even parents I've come to know. And near the entrance of the new wing, under a silk cloth, stands the plaque. The Frank Hayes Children's Wing. Miss Patterson waves us over. Ella Laner, we've been waiting for you. The ceremony begins. The mayor talks about community. Miss Patterson speaks about generosity and dreams. Then she calls me up. I take a breath, steady and full. Thank you, I begin. This wing is named for my husband, Frank, a man who believed in the power of stories, and the magic of a well-loved book. Even after long days at work, he read to our children every night. He believed that what you plant in a child's imagination can grow into something extraordinary. I pause, scanning the crowd. At the back, I see Mason and Clara. Clara gives me a quiet nod. Mason looks at the ground. My hope is that this place becomes a refuge for children, to dream, to question, to grow. Because life isn't measured by what you keep. It's measured by what you give. Applause breaks gently around me. Liam joins me at the ribbon. Cameras flash. The cloth is pulled away, and Frank's name gleams in the light. Afterward, Lewis appears at my side with 2 lemonades. To beginnings, he says. To choosing yourself, I answer. Because that's what I've done. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if Mason or Clara will ever truly understand what they took from me, or what they lost. But I'm not waiting for their understanding anymore. I'm not waiting for anything. This life, it's mine now. And I intend to live every last page of it on my own terms. If this story moved you, please like, share, and leave a comment. Because sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away and begin again.